Football is fast. The NFL career is very fast. Life in football can be very fast. Transactions happen at a drop of a dime, and before you know it, one of the players that you think had some promise or could have been used in a way that you would like to be is vanished very quickly. This is what happened with Caleb Huntley. We're going to talk about him being cut in this episode. After yesterday, I talked about what they could do with him as far as using him for trade bait or using him for a trade prospect. It's really interesting at the end of the day, and I kind of, looking back, hindsight 2020, I kind of see where this was going when I look back at it now. But we're going to talk about Caleb Huntley being cut. What does this mean for the Falcons? And also, we re-signed tight end MyCole Pruitt. A couple other things we're going to do before we get out of here today. I'm going to talk about those two, but I'm also going to talk about a little bit of Georgia Southern stuff and a couple other things out of the way as well. If this is your first time here, welcome. This is episode 628 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I am Via Baller. Over here, we talk about Georgia Southern and Atlanta Falcons football. And today, we're going to talk about the topics of Caleb Huntley, MyCole Pruitt. We're going to talk another Georgia Southern recruit has committed for 2024. And we're just going to go from there. I can be found on YouTube and Rumble. I'm also on Spotify, Stitcher, Apple, and Google Podcasts. I don't think they use the title Twitter anymore. I can be found on X. It's called X now at Via Baller. That's just really weird how they changed the name. Way to go, Elon Musk. And also, I can be found on the website, firstandframerates.com. You can go over there and subscribe to the podcast on that website as well. X, also known as Twitter, over there, I talk about things that really don't make it to the show. So it's always a good time over there as well. You can follow me over there and also hit the like button while this show is going on to let people know what we're doing over here. Share this podcast. We are growing as we speak. All right. Before I get into Caleb Huntley, let's talk about a few things really, really quick. Steve Smith, which I really don't care for really quick. I really don't care for, not him, but his comments. He said that Atlanta don't have a quarterback. We're talking about Desmond Ridder. Kind of expect that from from a former Carolina Panther. And I really don't think nothing of it. I can care less about it. It is what it is, So he said that we're talking about the Green Bay Packers, whatever the case may be. They claim that they're going to beat us because we don't have a quarterback. Well, you're not looking at the rest of the team either, but it just goes to show you that even though with our shortcomings at quarterback, and I believe that it is, we just don't have, a hindsight of the entire team as a 53-man roster. So that's that. Also, I think that's pretty much it. I'll be honest with you. As far as the Falcons, Calais Campbell is on the physically unable to perform list. I think that's just a precaution. I think he's fine. There's nothing to worry about there. They're not going to put him through too much. He's an experienced veteran. He's not going to be out there with the rest of the guys for the most part. All right, let's just go ahead and get into this whole situation with Caleb Huntley. He was cut after recovering. Well, he is recovering from a torn Achilles tendon, which is a really big, injury to bounce back from. But the way that things were yesterday, I thought that it was going to still put him out there to play in the preseason. But one thing that I really read that I was talking about on the podcast that I missed, Coach Arthur Smith said his health is the number one priority right now, which, anytime a player is injured, that's what it is. His health is always, always priority. So a player's health is always number one. So, yeah, I get it. But with that being said, is that cold word is like, we're not worrying about signing him. We just want him to get better. We just want him to be well. We want him to recover. We're not worrying about putting him on the field. I guess you could say that because when Bijan Robinson was was drafted and signed, the writing was kind of on the wall for Caleb Huntley. And then the fact that he was already injured, you kind of saw it. But I saw it as an opportunity for possibly, getting him out there, showing his talents off and getting something for him. But they waived him after being placed on the physically unable to perform list. And he was waived with a failed physical designation. So did he fail his physical? I think that's what that meant. That's really interesting that they put that on there. So that just goes to show you how that goes as well. But nevertheless, let's jump over to our signing. We re-signed tight end MyCole Pruitt, which I think this is a really quality signing. This kid has been pretty valuable to the team. He knows his role, and on top of that, he'll be able to be an asset in 2 and 3 tight end sets. Now, we do have Kyle Pitts. We do have Jonnu Smith. What this tells me is that Kyle Pitts is probably going to be slotted out at receiver at times. It could be a possibility that you see Jonnu Smith, Pruitt, and Pitts on the field at the same time. You could probably see those guys on the field at the same time with the Drake London, Bijan Robinson in the backfield, and teams is going to have a problem trying to cover everybody. I mean, that's just what it looks like in one formation. So this is a really very good signing for the Falcons. Picking up MyCole Pruitt, which actually had a pretty solid season last year. I think he played like the last 3 or 4 games. I can't remember how many games he played. I'm sorry. But he had 16 catches for 150 yards and 4 touchdowns. I mean, it's very quality for the position that he was in. I mean, he wasn't the starting tight end. He really wasn't the second or third string tight end. I mean, he just came in and plugged and play when Kyle Pitts were down. And I mean, you got 4 touchdowns last year. I mean, and he has some pretty good catches too. So this is a very good signing for this team. I truly see him making the team. And like I said, I would not be surprised you see a set where Jonnu Smith, Pruitt, and Kyle Pitts, all 3 on the field at the same time. You probably, like I said, you probably have a single back with Bijan Robinson, and then you have Drake London on the opposite side of the field. I mean, that is a deadly combination if you really want to look at it any way possible. I mean, that's a really tough task to cover. I mean, that's a lot of height, speed, and physicality, on the field in that, with those 4 pass catchers, 5 pass catchers, if you want to think about Bijan Robinson. So very solid pickup right there. So outside of losing Caleb Huntley, we end up re-signing MyCole Pruitt. And I still think that we're going to, think this is still a pretty solid move here overall. But it's unfortunate. I did like Caleb Huntley a lot. Did not want to see him go. You never know what may happen. May put him on a practice squad. Just don't know. But we'll see how that plays out. Last but not least, we're going to talk about Georgia Southern football. I don't have the picture up because I didn't get it at the last minute at starting this recording. But Ziggy Holloway, cornerback out of Tallahassee, Alabama, 6', 165. Committed to Georgia Southern on the 10th of July. Kind of missed out on this, but this is another 2024 hard commit according to 247sports.com. That makes it up to 10 for Georgia Southern already in the year 2023. Haven't even played a down yet, and you got 10 hard commits already ready to come to Georgia Southern. A lot of these guys are very high quality 3-star players. Some of these guys could be classified as 4-star depending on the situation, but these guys are looking really good. Now, I have not forgotten everybody. Carlos Mays, Keon Davis, and Philip Gladney. You 3 guys, I'm definitely going to try to go out my way to come see you guys play. It's not too far from where I am. Macon, Georgia, Covington, Georgia, and Kennesaw, Georgia, all around the area that I'm in. I will be trying my best to put on some Georgia Southern gear and go to support you guys when you're at your games throughout the season. Try to get at least one of you guys' game. Depends on my schedule, which it should be no conflict, but I'm definitely trying to get to you guys' game. So be on the lookout for that. Like I said, it's really a good time for Georgia football. I mean, I don't even talk about the Bulldogs for whatever the case may be. If those guys can get from behind the wheel, you got a team that's probably going to win another national title. I mean, they're just plain and simple. But when you look at, with Georgia Southern, what they're doing, you look at the Falcons and what they're doing. I haven't heard much from Georgia Tech or Kennesaw State. Even I haven't heard anything from that school that we may not want to name that plays in Turner Field. But overall, it is solid across the board. I can't talk too much about the Turner Field team because they've been beating us for the past few years. But I can't say much, but it is a solid outing of what they're doing. So at the end of the day, Georgia in general is always been a hotbed for football talent, and it's just going to show, especially in the college rankings. And then you start looking at the Falcons that can make some moves. They're really primed to win this division. I don't care what anybody says. I mean, I know I had a back and forth going with the Saints fan in the comment section of YouTube, and it's really cool. I love going back and forth with rival players and or not rival players, but rival fans. It's always a good time. And he or whoever he or she, I don't know. I apologize. They were saying that I sounded crazy because I don't feel like we have the best talent in the NFC South. I mean, of course, I think we do. I mean, I think I literally, with all the signs we did, I think we do. And of course, I would expect them to say otherwise. That's the beautiful thing about rivalries. And when they're clean and it's not, getting really vicious, because sometimes these rivalries, the smack talk goes back and forth, gets a little bit out of hand, a little personal. I try to stay away from it. But I do like a good old back and forth, just talking when it comes to rival teams, because I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't too much care for the Saints, but I do respect the team. I mean, they've done something we haven't done yet. They won the Super Bowl, and they've been fairly prominent throughout the regular season. We had our struggles, ups and downs, and we've done a lot of self-inflicted things to our organization. So it is really disheartening to see, but I think we're on the right track. Before I get out of here, one more thing. Devondre Campbell, I think that's what his name. Why would I care what he says about what this team has done to him or how he felt about the team? He was a part of the old regime. What he's saying is irrelevant about they have trouble picking up talent that was like his. Sir, weren't you on 2083? I think you were. I mean, what did you do? Huh? But nevertheless, he was a good player. But it's like, bro, why would you want to talk about this team now that pretty much everybody on this team that's honestly was not around when you were around, even the front office? So I don't get it. That was just, it just seems like, take a shot at Falcons day. Apparently, you got Steve Smith and then you got Devondre Campbell. It's whatever. I mean, this team is totally different now. And I think that we're going to do some things that are, just as successful as the old regime were. I mean, I see if this team can stay on the path of where it is, you can put a pedigree together to go to a Super Bowl, go deep in the playoffs. You got to start somewhere. I mean, you got to think about it. I mean, nobody was really thinking Super Bowl when Pat Mahomes got, drafted, or Jalen Hurts got drafted, or Joe Burrow got drafted. Those guys were good, but nobody was thinking Super Bowl until you actually saw them go deep, have a deep run in the playoffs. But with that said, the Falcons have to have a deep run in the playoffs, right? Right. Shout out to the Atlanta Falcons and Georgia Southern. Hopefully Caleb Huntley lands back on his feet and get a gig in football. I think he's a pretty talented running back. MyCole Pruitt, he is going to be the third option at tight end. I think he's going to be pretty effective. And the naysayers is whatever. Ziggy Holloway out of Tallahassee, Alabama. I can't wait to see what you're going to be able to do with the Georgia Southern Eagles. We got a whole we got a whole year to wait, but it's going to be worth it. I think some of these kids, if they stick around, they're going to be very, very special. If this is your first time here, I appreciate you being here. If you like this commentary, hit the like button, share this podcast, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let me know what you guys think about all this content. Those are pretty heavy, little all over the place episode. Not really linear like it usually is, but we're going to get back into the swing of things tomorrow with another episode. Hopefully you guys will come back through. If you have subscribed, I really thank you. If you hit the like button, I thank you as well. Give me a 5-star rating on that Apple Podcast Avenue. I am on the YouTube and Rumble, also Spotify, Stitcher, Apple, Google Podcasts. Stitcher will be down shortly, so if you're listening on Stitcher, find a new home to listen to the podcast. They even said it themselves sometimes in August. Also, I can be found on X. It's not Twitter, at VFBaller. I still think it's Twitter, whatever. And the website is firstandframereach.com. I will see you guys on the next one. All right, y'all. Y'all take it easy and y'all be blessed. Peace.